Hello and welcome to our first Mystery Stampin Monday. So if you saw the post in my YouTube community, you will have your supplies all ready to go. I will go over them really quick with you just to make sure that you have what you need. So you will need a stamp set and some sort of label punch. You could even use a circle punch if you wanted to, or another punch shape, but something that's going to resemble a label. I've chosen to use the Modern Garden stamp set along with the Modern Oval Punch. And then you should have, excuse me, a piece of cardstock. I chose Poppy Parade. It should be cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and then scored at 4 1/4. So just your typical A2 card base. Then you are going to want to have your piece of basic white or very vanilla. You may decide which one you want based on what designer series paper you chose. And this will be cut at 5 1/4 by 8, and then you're going to want to score it at 2 and at 4. Some sort of ribbon, if you want ribbon on your card. I'm using the Garden Green ribbon here. And then for embellishments, I chose these pearls, which coordinate with the DSP I'm going to use. You'll need a white scrap for stamping and punching. And then for my DSP, I chose the Garden Walk. So I have one piece cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have two pieces cut at 1 3/4 by 5. Okay, so let's get started. And then of course you're gonna want coordinating inks based on what you chose. So we're just gonna go ahead and fold our card base in half here. And then we'll give it a good burnish without the dot in the way, the dimensional backing. And our largest piece of DSP is going to go right here on the front. However, if you want to use ribbon, you're going to want to put that on first. So I am going to grab my seal and hope that there is some left in it. If not, I'll switch it out really quick. And you're not going to want your ribbon too low because you are going to punch into this portion of the card. And if your ribbon is too low, then you won't be able to punch very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this around. Make sure it's nice and snug and even. And I'm not going to put any adhesive on the other side because I'm going to tie a little bow there at the end. And I might use my thread trick. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so there you have your panel. Now you're going to want to adhere this to your cardstock. And you'll notice too that when this gets adhered, it helps flatten the ribbon out so that it appears to be stuck down to the paper. So I'm going to use liquid adhesive for this part and just go ahead and apply this. Now, I'm going to kind of avoid, as I get it all over the back of my cardstock, I'm going to kind of avoid the middle there because I'm going to need to sort of punch in that area. So if you use liquid adhesive, either avoid that or let it dry, or use your whatever sort of tape you use, your Stampin' Seal or your Stampin' Seal Plus. You could even use tear and tape if you wanted to. I'm just gonna make sure my ribbon is even before I push that all the way down. Okay, so there you have your front panel. Now what you're gonna wanna do with your punch, I don't know why this is appearing crooked to me. It's either because it is, or because my ribbon is crooked. It's probably not crooked at all. Sometimes it's hard to tell when I'm sitting down. So you're going to want to take your punch, and you're going to want to slide your punch all the way up, as far as it will go up your paper, and then you're going to want to center it between each side of the card. Now, if it's not exact, no one's going to notice, but you're going to want to punch that out, and then you have this fun little window. Then you're going to want to take the piece of paper that you have scored. You're going to want to take this larger piece and fold it towards you. Give it a good burnish. And then you're going to want to fold this piece down and give that a good burnish. Now, if you want to do any sort of decorating, go ahead and do it now. I'm just going to stamp, oh, I already have my stamps mounted, so I don't need that. I'm going to go ahead and just stamp a cute flower on the inside corner here. I'm going to use Petal Pink. And I'm just going to sort of put it in the corner here. And then I'm going to grab my Poppy Parade, and I'm just going to stamp this center looking piece right on top. There we go. Oops, I just stuck my finger right in the ink. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to apply adhesive to this back panel only, because that's the only part that's going to be stuck in the card. And I am going to adhere that inside my card here. Yeah, hot dog. Stuck my fingers in ink and then got it all over my card. That's okay. I'm going to ignore it, because once I'm done and it's dried, I'm going to go in with my sand eraser and I'm just going to erase it off. Okay, so I've taken my sand eraser and gone over these spots where I accidentally got ink on my paper. And down here isn't going to matter so much. We are going to put our DSP, our other pattern of DSP that we chose, down here on these two panels. So it'll all work out just fine. But that is just a typical problem I have. If it's a dark ink and I'm using white paper, I'll generally get ink everywhere. So just go ahead and put down your DSP strips. You can alternate the patterns if you want to. I'm just going to do both of them the same. And I like liquid adhesive for most things because I tend to need time to wiggle things around to straighten them, but use whatever adhesive you prefer. So there we have that. So you can see that this folds up and then this folds down, and we've got this cool little window here that we punched out. But now we need to fill this space. So this is where our label punch and our stamp comes in. So I am going to use the stamp set that says, "Wishing you the warm blessings of Christmas." This is from the stamp set that I showed you at the beginning, the Modern Garden. And I'm going to stamp in Garden Green, which is the same color as my ribbon, but you don't have to coordinate your ribbon and your ink that you choose. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to take my punch and just punch out the sentiment. And then what we want to do is we want to adhere this in here. Now, for me, the easiest way to do this is just going to be to put adhesive where I want it to stick. Instead, if I try to just do it on here, I'm most likely going to mess it up. And I'm going to use seal for this. I know my seal is going to run out at any moment. And I'm just going to stick that right inside there. And then you'll see it just kind of pops out like that. So when people set this card down, it's going to set down like a little easel. So it looks really cool. And you'll see it when you have yours all put together. So again, we've got our panel on the inside here that of course I've got glue on. I would like to say I am not a messy crafter, but it's a miracle sometimes, I tell you. Okay. So I've had use of two of my favorite tools in my craft room today, the adhesive remover and the sand eraser. If you are not familiar with either of these, I do have a link in the video description below that it goes to my craft room favorites, and they're both on there. Okay, so now I want to put a bow on my card. And this is a little trick I do when I don't bring the ribbon all the way around to tie a bow with the same piece. I use some thread. And this is one of the reasons why I did not put adhesive under the ribbon on the front. So what I like to do is go in and slide this thread under. It's probably hard for you to see because it's white. And I'm gonna make my bow in the middle, and I'm just gonna tie it. I think that's in the middle. I might need to go over a little bit farther here, like that. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna make it look like I have actually tied. I'm gonna set this down here so my card quits popping open. It's going to look like I've only used one piece of ribbon instead of two. Oh, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. This may be the first spool of ribbon I have ever finished. And I'm not joking. I rarely use ribbon. And I think this is the first one that I've used all the way up. I didn't even realize I was that close to the end. Okay, now most people probably don't need this much to tie a bow, but if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I struggle to tie bows. So I always give myself a lot to play with, just in case. So I could be here all day fiddling with this. So all I'll do is just take a glue dot and I will adhere that down. And because I cinched up that portion there, it looks like that's where the ribbon is tied instead of it looking like I just stuck a bow on top of a piece of ribbon. So let me grab my shears here. Got my bow, and then I'm just going to add a few embellishments, but I'm going to hold my card down with that so it's not flinging open. And I am going to use, I think I'll use the gold ones. Let me grab my take your pick tool here. And I'm just going to put just a few on the front. Where, I don't know. This can always take me a long time, but I'm going to try not to be super picky. But I might add 5. Story of my life, friends. Can you ever over embellish? Probably. Okay, I think I'll do... And we'll do it like that. Okay. And there we have our mystery stamping project. What do you think? You could even put a gem inside here if you wanted to for the center of the flower. But I think that is super fun. If you recreate this and post it, please tag me. I would love to see your Mystery Stampin' project. You can tag me at Stamp with Marcee. Marcee has 2 E's. All of my social media is in the video description below. You can even post it in your YouTube community if you have one and tag me there. But I would love to see what you created for our first Mystery Stampin' Monday. So thank you everyone who has joined, and thank you everybody who is watching the replay. I hope you have a fabulous week. Goodbye.